Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Cinder Shadow, and today I'm going to talk about some more spoilers over the last week. So first one I picked this week is Pollen Bright Druid. This is probably going to be more of a limited card than anything, but with the proliferate for 2 on a 1/1 body, it's going to be something in War of the Spark that's going to make a difference. With all the planeswalkers, this will up them. This can also put a counter on a creature, so if you're running a counter-heavy deck with the proliferate and a few of these in the deck, it could easily bring something more. There's the Mana Dork, the Incubation Druid, that you could easily get this counter onto it, so you don't have to spend 5 mana to make him a 3/5. He'd be a 1/3, but be able to make that 3 mana. The next card I got is Massacre Girl. Man, this card is a little nutty. She, legendary creature, human assassin, 4/4 for 5 mana, 2 of it being black, with menace. When she enters the battlefield, each other creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Whenever a creature dies this turn, this is only the turn that she comes in, each creature other than her get -1/-1 until end of turn. So this is going to rip up any of the weenie style decks. If you can find a way to kill one of those creatures, you give this creature haste. Yeah, she's a menace, so probably not going to trade easily with another creature, but if you find a way to take down another creature, maybe having something on board that can Tim something and kill it, or who knows what's out there. At 5 mana, this is a beefy, but I think can be effective. Another thing to look at is maybe a black-blue scenario where you can exile her and bring her back in a flicker sort of effect. Then you can have this going off multiple times, even though she's on the board. So that would be a way that I would probably play with this card. My next one that I have on my list is Mobilized District. This is a land that can go into any deck because it's a very colorless theme, and because War of the Spark, if this is in a draft in a limited format, throw it in there if you end up with this thing. It's not going to hurt. Yes, it becomes a 3/3 creature with vigilance, so it can be killed, but it's your choice to make it that creature at any time. So really, it's not that big of a deal. You can still have that land until you need something as a 3/3 creature. Use the land as the land until you need that creature. But making it cheaper, dependent on how many legendary creatures and planeswalkers you control, is where this thing is going to be a little bit nice. We're going into the realm of Super Friends over and over and over again with the decks that we're going to see. 36, 37, 38, 39 planeswalkers now in this set. It's going to be a card that will be sought after. Beyond the set, it's probably not going to do much. But for this set in particular, it might be something that sits there. Now, the next card, this is Mizzium Tank. It's a 2 red and a generic artifact vehicle. I am not a fan of vehicles in the first place because of the crew mechanic, making the flavor myself of crew, I believe, it misses the mark. I think, honestly, if a creature is piloting this and this gets destroyed, it should be tied back to that creature somehow, but it's not that case. Apparently they jump out when it's destroyed. That's the flavor side of things. But this one in particular is going to be a little bit insane because you have a different way of making this a creature. It's a 3/2 trample creature or artifact, whatever you want to be. But whenever you cast a non-creature spell, it becomes an artifact creature and gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So it's got prowess, and it has it becomes that creature, so you don't even have to crew it. So this in a Izzet deck, a red rush deck, this thing is going to be a beefcake. This thing always swinging for a 4/3 with trample, and possibly more if you're adding more spells in that round, so it's going to be a little bit crazy in that sense. Next card I picked this week, Forced Landing. We've had Plummet in the format forever. This is a new version of Plummet that I think is going to actually see more traction than Plummet does in the format. As an instant, 1 green, 1 generic, it puts target creature with flying on the bottom of owner's library. Now, if you're looking at Plummet, it just destroys target creature with flying. Because it doesn't exile the creature, there's still the chance that they can manipulate the graveyard, where if it's ending up on the bottom of the library, it's not coming back very easily. They either have to reshuffle their deck, hope they draw it, or find a way to fetch that creature. So in a lot of cases, this is going to be something really good. One target that is really pronounced with this, with Forced Landing, would be the Rekindling Phoenix or the other Phoenix. Yeah, any of those Phoenixes, because they keep coming back. So that's something that's going to make Izzet think twice before putting down those Phoenixes, even Gruul or Mono Red with them. The next card I have on the list is Jaya's Greeting, which is an upgraded version of Lightning Strike. Now, the one thing that I have a problem with is that they made this common, where Lightning Strike has been an uncommon for a long time. Lightning Strike is a 1 red, 1 generic, where Jaya's Greeting is the same casting cost. However, this does 3 damage to target creature. Lightning Strike does 3 damage to any target. So that's the trade-off. But Jaya's Greeting does have the Scry 1. So the Scry 1 can make things better, dependent in the type of scenario. Because it's only target creature, it's probably more of a sideboard card where you switch it in and out for the Lightning Strike. So I honestly think it could have been up to the uncommon mark because of the Scry 1. The Scry 1, those effects tend to take over a format very quickly. The next card I have is Neoform. This is a 1 blue, 1 green sorcery. As an additional cost to cast the spell, sacrifice a creature. Search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost equal to 1 plus the sacrifice creature's converted mana cost. Put that creature onto the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it, then shuffle your library. This is a bit of an upgraded version of Eldritch Evolution from Eldritch Moon, which was a 2 green and a generic. Also sacrificing it, but it's the mana cost X +2, and you're getting X or less, where this is mana cost equal to. So there is a little bit more to it. Eldritch Evolution maybe still edging it because it's X or less, where this is equal to. But with Neoform in the format that we are seeing right now, you put down turn 1 a forest with an Llanowar Elf. Turn 2, you put down a island, or even turn 1, you can put down a breeding pool, and then you can tap it for the green and put the elf in, and then you can go find an incubation druid, sacrificing the Llanowar Elf, and then it comes into play with that 1/1 counter. So now you don't have to find another way of spending money, or not money, mana, into making that druid be able to make the 3 mana cost. The other card that I picked out, another one here, is Evolution Sage. This is a 1 green and 2 generic elf druid 3/2 with a landfall effect. When a land enters the battlefield under your control, you proliferate. Also in green, you have Circuitous Root. which is a form casting cost 1 green and 3 generic. Search your library for up to 2 basic lands and or gates and put them into the battlefield tap, then shuffle your library. So this you can do this the next round if you have the mana for it. In a ramp style deck, this card could make Planeswalkers loyalty through the roof, counters, anything that you can think of. This could break a format very quickly, especially when you're fetching and putting lands down into play. We have the Gates deck already, and that Gates deck on its own with the root is very, very crazy. Adding in Proliferate could be even more. This card has seen a bunch of traction since it's been announced. There's been a ton of talk around this card. It's Feather the Redeemed, 2 white and a red, legendary creature Angel. It has flying, it's a 3/4. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets a creature you control, exile that card instead of putting it into the graveyard as it resolves. If you do, return it to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. So what I saw was Ariela's Fury. Now this card, it kinda spiked the second Feathered came out. And the reason for that is this one deals X damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures and or players. Tap each creature dealt damage this way. Players dealt damage this way can't cast non-creature spell this turn. So you put down Feather, then you can mess around with Ariela's Fury after, say, she attacks, targeting Feather for 1 damage, or actually you only have to target it. You don't even have to do any damage, which would be, I don't know if that's how it would work, but let's, for simplicity's sake, you just deal 1 damage to Feather. But then you spread around the rest of the damage across the board, hitting your opponent, hitting all of their creatures, and then the Fury comes back to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. So this is a cycle that could be in itself. This card apparently in the past has spiked up and down, and a lot of people want to make this thing work. There's always speculation around it, but this one in particular may make it go up. This is more of a modern thing that you're going to see, but there's other stuff with Feathered the Redeem. Any cantrip that you're putting on a creature, you throw this in a Naya deck, and anything can get bigger with Titanic Growth, Giant Growth. You have all those. You've got Sure Strike. You've got tons and tons of cantrips that you can easily make infinite, and it keeps coming back turn after turn. The next card that I have, that I picked out this week, is Ral Storm Conduit. This, in my opinion, is an upgraded version of the current Niv Mizzet. It's not a creature, but it is the Planeswalker at the rare. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, it deals 1 damage to target opponent or Planeswalker. It comes into play with 4 loyalty. He's a 1 red, 1 blue, and 2 generic. His +2 is Scry 1. His -2 is copy target the next instant or sorcery spell that you cast. You can choose new targets, obviously. Now, this is a lot easier to proc and get going, where Niv Mizzet, it's 6, it's a 5/5. But the thing with Niv Mizzet is anytime you or your opponent cast a spell, it deals 1 damage and you draw a card off of it. So these two could actually go quite well together also. But if you're looking for something that's going to be a little bit faster, and not have to worry about the mana cost of Niv Mizzet, this is definitely a card to go with. And the last one that I picked this week is Saheeli Rai. She is an upgraded version of Murmuring Mystic. It's a With Saheeli, it's blue or red ×2 hybrid mana with 1 generic. It's a 5 loyalty uncommon planeswalker. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a 1/1 color servo artifact token into play. With the -2, target artifact you control becomes a copy of another artifact or creature you control until end of turn, except it's an artifact in addition to its other types. So this, if you have something out there that's going to be something that's worthwhile copying, maybe a Gate Colossus, or even, I don't know, it's target artifact or creature. You know, this could be any of the Drakes. This could be, you know, something out there that you just want to copy, and it can just take over a board very quick. It's cheaper than the Murmuring Mystic, but it is not a creature. It is legendary, of course, so you can only have one, where the Murmuring Mystic you can have several. Well, thank you for watching this week for the spoilers. A little bit of an update. Like I've said in the last one that I posted, I wasn't going to go over all the spoilers, mainly because it's easy enough to go out and look on the sites and see them all, or there's other channels that are already doing that, and I wanted to take my own little take on them all. Things that have stood out this week and stuff like that. Next week I will be trying to do one more of these, hopefully by the end of the week when things are supposed to be wrapping up for the spoiler season. Anyway, thanks for watching and have yourselves a great day.